Good morning. It's Friday the 8th of May today, which is the last expected frost date in my area. So what I want to try and get done this weekend is get the polytunnel and the greenhouse planted up. I can't put the bell peppers in because they're still far too small, but I can get the tomatoes in. So that means I've got to empty them both out. So I've got some calabrese, some broccoli, some sprouts, brassicas basically, which I'm going to get planted out today. And then I've got to trim the embankment, which runs alongside the main road, which unfortunately is one of my tasks as this plot holder. So we're going to get the brassicas in, and then we're going to start the strimmer up because I don't think the residents want me strimming at 7 o'clock in the morning. So let's get the brassicas put in. First thing I'm going to be planting out are my Groninger Brussels sprouts. I'm only going to grow 4. I don't need a huge amount, probably just enough for Christmas dinner. Last year I didn't do very well. I planted them far too late. So this year I've got a head start. I'm just going to put them in this bed here. Should be just about big enough for 4 of them. It's in a netted area to keep the pigeons off. And they don't tend to get too much whitefly trouble. Well, they haven't in the past, so I'm hoping that won't be a problem. But what we do have on this site and a lot of plots is a thing called club root, which means that the roots of the brassicas, they just form into it's like a big fist, and the roots don't work properly, don't absorb nutrients, and you get tiny little plants. So to combat that, you can put garden lime in, which adjusts the pH of the soil, and the bacteria that cause the club root don't tend to like that. Also with Brussels sprouts, they like the ground that they're grown in to be firm. So I've just walked across the bed for a couple of minutes, and I'm just going to dig the planting hole, drop a handful of lime in, and away they should go. Hopefully they'll be okay. It's a little bit stony, but I don't think they'll mind a few stones. So I'll just dig out my lime and my trowel, and we can get the first plantings in. So just use my bulb planter because they're only small pots. Just pop some holes in. And all I'm going to do is sprinkle some lime in and around the hole. And I'm also going to put some lime on the bed so it'll wash through. Just a good dusting. I'll dust the bottom of the plants as well to protect the roots. So far all I've done, dug the holes with a bulb planter, sprinkled a bit of lime in. I'm just going to pop these out. Got reasonable roots on them. Just a dusting of lime in there, and then just pop it in the hole and really firm it in. Sprouts love to be firmed in. It's because they grow to be such large plants, they need to be anchored in. And just tickle the soil over. And then sprinkle a little bit more lime. Try not to get it all over the leaves. And when I've got all 4 planted, just going to give the bed a good watering. In this section, I've got 5 Cordessa cabbage, which are club root resistance, and 5 Clapton F1 cauliflower, again, club root resistance. And in here, I've got 5 Monclano calabrese, club root resistance. And in here, I've got 10 early purple sprouting broccoli, and the 4 Brussels sprouts that you saw me sow earlier. So just the one bed left in here. This bed will be coming clear soon. These are overwinter field beans. So I'm going to cut those down soon, put the tops into compost, leave the roots in so it releases the nitrogen into the soil. So I've got 2 beds here, and then 3 beds out here left to do. I can do some direct sowing into those. I need to get my parsnips, get a few more carrots, salads, things like that. I can direct sow them. This bed needs a little bit of a weed, but it's had the cover on for the past couple of months, so I'll get in there and get that sorted. But it's nice to actually be getting things in the ground. Now I can concentrate on tidying the plot, putting the wood chip down. But before I do that, this is the embankment. So this is what I did yesterday. And then that's what it's like. It's almost waist height at some points. So I'm going to get that done now. I've got the strimmer ready. Let's get a little bit of work done. I think it's time to plant some parsnips, and I'll show you the method that I'm going to use. I'm sure you may have seen other people use a similar method. Just get a standard length of downpipe, force it into the hole as deep as you can get it, and then you take it out, and all you do is leave a core. You can put some sieved compost into that, which shouldn't give any resistance to the parsnip taproot, and then just use this little funnel that I've made to fill the hole up. Pop a couple of seeds in each, then just put a little bit more compost on the top, and let's see what sort of results we get. I mean, if we get parsnips that are that long, I should be more than happy. So I'll just get the sieved compost, do the first one, and then we'll go from there. Compost is slightly moist. A few little lumps in it. Should be okay. Just make a little dent in the middle. Get the seeds. And then just going to pop 3 into the hole. And whichever one works best, we should leave to grow. And send them out as I go. There you go. I'm just going to repeat that 7 times, and then we'll be done. That's 1 row of 7 parsnips in. I'm just going to repeat the process, but for probably 3 or 4 rows, I'm going to put carrots in because I don't need a huge amount of parsnips. Good morning. Today I'm going to see if I can get my tomatoes planted into the polytunnel in the greenhouse. But before I can do that, I've got to empty the polytunnel because there's lots of things on the staging. I can fold the staging out of the way, get the irrigation system in, and then start actually planting the tomatoes. I can't bring the bell peppers down yet because they're still far too small. I'm a little bit worried that I'm not going to get anything off them this year because they're really slow growing. Hopefully if the weather picks up, they'll pick up. But first job of the day is to get all this stuff sorted. I'm not going to lie, that was an absolute nightmare. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong. Right, let's get this staging down. Well, it is. Started off its life as a bit of an old fence that I found on Facebook Marketplace. I've just modified it to fit. It's just held in with these couple of screws at the front. And there we go. There's a little hinge at the back. Just fucking zoom it round so you can see it. There's a little hinge at the back. And all it does is pivot on the hinge. And then it just drops down, it's out of the way. I just need to take some of the soil away from behind it so it sits flush. And then I can do the other 2. I've levelled the ground off, give it a watering, although it's not really penetrated too far into the soil. I've just set up the irrigation system. Runs up that side, across the back, and back down here. And the spacings on these spurs I think around about 400 millimeters. So what I'll do is I'll put a plant roughly in the middle. So that'll give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 tomatoes along the back there. And then 6 along here. And then that gives me room for 12 peppers along the front, because obviously they won't grow quite as tall as some of the tomatoes will. So I'm just going to sort out the tomatoes now, pick out the 12, see how many of each I've got, and I'll show you how I plant them in. I'll just show you the first one. I've already put the cord up ready, and we can go through that once I'm ready. Let's do one more, see if we can do a slightly better job. Same process, bulb planter. As deep as she'll go. A little bit of blood, flesh and bone. Some around. Drop of water. Not too much. Cord in. Take the lower leaves off. This one again, this one has frost damage on it. I can take that one off. Our little labelling. That's the first 2 tomatoes done. I'll just get the rest done, and then we can have a look when I've finished. It's polytunnel all planted up. That was just extra space, so I put a Roma in there. So we've got 2 Gardener's Delight, 2 Japanese Black Truffelli, 2 Tigerella, 2 Moneymaker, 2 Burlesque, 2 Beefsteak. These are all the spares that I'm going to be keeping. There's 1 of each, and then a little pot that's been in the polytunnel for a little while. And we're going to have a look in the greenhouse. In the greenhouse, I've only got 4. So I've got 2 San Marzano and 2 Roma. And the spaces at the back, I'm going to put the cucumbers in. Just going to have the tall variety growing up and across the roof, and then the smaller bush variety, which I believe is called Summer Holiday. I can just trail that along the bottom. They're looking a little bit droopy, but they'll pick up in a while. It's quite warm for them in here, but we've got to get used to it.